It was once an undeniable fact that the fairies lived amongst us to protect the world that we call home. But we destroyed their world and now they mourn. So I ask you to leave Tinkerbell to Disney and open your mind's eye. Welcome to Glenmore, home to King Donald and the kingdom of the fairies.
On the far side of Loch Morlich is where King Donald calls his home, in a small knoll deep inside the old Caledonian forest, where he protects the world around him, protects the beings, the creatures, the trees, everything living. So he's kind of known for intimidating us humans because he's not a big fan. And actually, if you go down to the banks of Loch Morlich, not so long ago there was a man that would boast that he had no illusion of the fairy world or the supernatural. Well, he was walking along the banks of Loch Morlich and all of a sudden he could hear pipes coming in the forest. Distant pipes, and louder and closer the pipes got, and still no sign of the player anywhere. All of a sudden he could feel the pipes so close to him, he could feel the vibrations. So he stepped aside and let the invisible piper pass. As he passed, he could feel the wind blowing from the drones on his cheeks. What this man witnessed was the fairy bagpipes being played by King Donald himself. When people used to use fir torches to light their homes, it was common for the lowlanders to come up to Glenmore and collect fir to light their homes during the winter. Well, King Donald didn't really think too highly of these people and considered them a bit of a nuisance. So one day while they were gathering fir, they could feel a presence, a giant figure coming out the forest. All of a sudden they started getting pelted with stones and sticks and they fled for their life, never to return to the Glenmore forest again. The great King Donald is so very brave and protective, and he kind of has to be, as the fairy females of Glenmore are said to be the most enchanting beings in the whole world. Eyes with the brightness of stars, cheeks with the whiteness of snow and the redness of the rowanberry, with lips like coral and teeth like ivory, with their ringlets of auburn hair that would float down to the majestic green dress. Simply irresistible to us naive men. Words can't describe the beauty of these fairy folk. And it was even once common that they would take a wee fancy to us humans, forming intimacies that could even put people in danger. Well, they're hard to find in this day and age. But there's one place where they've been seen cleaning their dresses. Welcome to Loch Anuani.
There was a loving wife who became suspicious of her husband's affection, and one evening she followed him up the glen. She saw her husband sitting by the loch accompanied by the most beautiful young lady in a green gown. She pounced on her, but found she only grasped an empty green gown. Suddenly, she felt calmness sweep over her, as she lovingly held her husband and forgot their quarrels. As she returned back home holding the gown, she accidentally caught the dress on a nail and a piece of fabric fell onto the floor. Her daughter picked it up and instantly transformed into the most beautiful woman. The mother and her daughters forever carried a piece of that dress and passed it down to future generations.
And Loch Anuani sits at the base of just one of many fairy knolls that you can see in the Cairngorms. You see, the Cairngorm fairy folk, they're well known for being particularly fond of music. So they can be seen partying and dancing in the moonlight. Well, there was one tale of a man who was passing through the glen right as the full moon lit up the forest, and he could see the lights. Right as he looked up, he shouted out of excitement, "Wow! Fairies are real!" Before he knew it, a fairy flew down from the hilltop, grabbed him by the throat and almost strangled him to death. He was absolutely shocked. By the time he got home, nobody would believe him, even though he was shaken to the bone. Well, it's up to you if you believe his tale or no. One spring there was a farmer out sowing his seed, happy as laddie so he was in his field, enjoying a wee bit of sunshine after a long winter, singing a song, and all of a sudden, attracted by his most incredible voice, was the bonniest of bonny fairies appeared next to him. She said to him, "Sing my favourite song for me." He says, "Bonny lass, who you think I am? What are you going to give me in return like?" She says, "If you sing my song and grant my wish, then your bag of seed will never ever fail you." And so he did. He gave it his most incredible, beautiful singing voice. He sang her song, and his bag of seed never diminished, and his family never went hungry. You see, the fairy folk, they love a wee trade, eh? And us humans, we're super creative beings in case you haven't realised. All you need to do is take your offering, throw it into the wilderness where the fairies live, and say the words,
His lips are show, his limbs are shin. This is yours, that is mine. And what you get in return is a complete surprise.
Well, there was one man that passed the fairy knoll. He threw his bonnet in the air. All of a sudden, a pair of silver bagpipes landed at his feet. He looked down in amazement. He was like, "Oh my God, what treasure have I been given?" So he grabs the bagpipes and he runs off home. When he gets home, he opens the bag to find that the bagpipes had turned to willow reeds in a puffball. He tells his wife the story and she says, "Mate, you gotta get off that whiskey. Take a wee chill now and then." For the most part, the fairy folk just want to have fun with us humans. They're here to do a job after all. They're here to protect the magical world that's all around us. And we're not really doing them a favour. We're not really helping them out at all, are we? Let's face it. And anyone that's not helping them out, not cleaning up after themselves, I don't recommend you to come here to the beach at Lochmorlich, where in the spring and summer months there's known to be a fairy night patrolling the beach, pulling up anyone that doesn't abide by the laws of nature and doesn't clean up after themselves. As you can tell, I have been battling with the weather all day. Twice I've been up here trying to film. Last week I came up and camped out and I couldn't film anything. It was just nature studio is not working for me sometimes, or maybe the fairy folk didn't really want me there. I don't know how well you can see it, because obviously in Scotland the sky's often white, but today it's pretty damn blue. And you might even be able to see some of the peaks. This here is the largest beach loch in Scotland. Can't really see much over that way. Let's just let you have a wee wander. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? It is windy, so do forgive me. Just before I go, guys, I want to say to any men in particular that made it this far in the video, big thumbs up, man, super proud of you. Leave me a comment in that, because as you can imagine, there's no issue trying to attract women, you know what I mean, with these wee tales, but there's a big issue trying to intrigue men. They think of fairy tales and they just shut off, they don't know what you're talking about. But these are completely different from kind of Disney fed fairy tales. These are the tales of nature. For me, the forest is the only place I'm at home. It's the only place I understand. I don't understand cities. I don't understand a lot of this modern world. But when I'm in nature, when I'm with the trees, there's just so much magic, man. And I hope for some of yous that are unable to kind of connect, one day maybe you will be able to, because once upon a time I wasn't that connected either. I learned, I breathed, and I can feel things where I think many people can't feel anymore, but you can get it back because it's our nature, it's our instinct, just like any other animal. So I'm going to say goodbye. I've had a fantastic day. I still have to ride home, so would you like to see one more wee view before I go? Oi, let me see. Wait. Oh yes, beat it. Oh, beat that, eh? One more thing. Cairngorms is pretty popular with the neighbours. It's pretty popular with a lot of people. Don't ever let it put you off. There's so much to explore. Endless, literally endless amount of space for you to go and enjoy. This is like the first people that I've seen all day pretty much. So, hi. Cheerio the new guys. Film, but this dude won't leave me alone. Go bugger off. I got nothing. Yes, you're gonna find your own food. You're bloody fat enough. You're well fat enough. I can't concentrate because this dude's here. Like, you got the most beautiful feathers. Look at you, man. You're just stunning. You are just unbelievably beautiful. I would love to have a pet duck like you. Who's your big guy? Who's your big guy? Oh. Alright, back to the tail. Back to the tail, yeah? Oh, fucking fat wee guy. Wee fatty, you're a wee fatty, you.